Hello. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. The best way through which you can create unbelievable adversaries and enemies is by creating and sparking up arguments. And not just arguments sparking, but actually trying to win those arguments as well. See what happens in our professional and personal life that we are constantly, struggling to put our point across. And at times, majority of the times, we do that at the expense of someone else's self-esteem, ego, and self-respect as well. So we try to convince the other person against that person's will. But as I said before, that if we do that, that person would still hold the same opinion. So how do you encounter such situations? So the first thing and the foremost thing is you will never ever win anything but lose. So if you lose an argument, you lose an argument. If you win an argument, you still lose an argument. How? See, in communication skills, it is evident because, this is so important for us to understand that brilliant communication basically means that we are creating unbelievably brilliant relationships, both in personal and professional capacity as well. But let's say, for instance, there's a customer in front of you, and that person is holding his ground by saying that, you've given me something of terrible quality, and it has a lot of problems in it. You, on the other side, because that's your business, that's your job, you're encountering those arguments by trying to belittle and trying to prove your point across in a manner that that other person, who's supposedly the customer, would eventually feel like a fool and say, okay, you know what, you're right, I'm wrong. But what's going to happen then? You probably have won an argument, but you've lost a customer. You have lost a customer by miles because now that customer is actually going to talk about you with his friends and family members. They're not to do business with you because you've just lost him. Why? Because you wanted to win an argument. And that's, I believe, is where the whole element of discussion and debate comes in. If you're willing to discuss something with somebody, you must have an open mind. Why? Because in discussion, we are focusing on what is right rather than who is right. In arguments, in debates, we are focusing on who is right. And when you're saying that who is right, I'm right, you're wrong, or you're right, I'm wrong, that's going to create a lot of noise. That's going to create a lot of disturbance. And the best point, the best way to actually put your point across is you can simply say that, I may be wrong. Most of the time I'm wrong. But let's examine the facts. Have a look at the facts. So right now what you've just done is you've told the other person openly that I may be wrong. I've been wrong a lot of times in the past as well. But let's mutually see the grounds that I'm presenting and examine the facts and see for yourself, and I'll see something for myself as well. Probably I'll discover something at the end of this discussion and not the debate or an argument. I was reading a book and there was a very brilliant saying in that book, and that saying was something like this: that those who speak do not know, and those who know do not speak. See, the whole point of having an amazing communication is to use this bit to the bare minimum and use these two bits to the maximum. Why am I saying that? Because when you are in a hot situation where the next person who you're interacting with, he or she is holding their ground, they're trying to belittle you, they're trying to pin you down with their arguments, and you on the other side, because you do not speak. You listen more. You observe more. Through that way, the other person would end up showing their weak side because they're uttering a lot of words, emotions, phrases, just to vent themselves out. And you on the other side, being the known person who has knowledge, who has wisdom, you're keeping yourself quiet. So when you're keeping yourself quiet, that's going to create a sort of awkward silence, which the other person would love to fill in. And when they're filling it in, they're giving you all sorts of information about themselves. And then at the end of that discussion, you can say, I'm wrong most of the time. In the past, I've been wrong as well. But let's have a look at the facts together and see how exactly we can come up with a solution that is absolutely in your favor. Don't say my favor. No, say your favor. People would love you for that. So keep that in mind very clearly. I'm actually requesting rather humbly that keep a very open mind and don't be emotional when you're in a situation where you can see that the argument's going to take place. You, the sane person, you, the person with wisdom, would not want to have an argument, let alone you want to win an argument. Because you win an argument, you lose somebody for a very long time, probably for a lifetime. But if you lose in that situation, if you stay quiet, which is not really loss, you just inflated the ego of the other human. And people, humans crave to feed their appetite of their, ego. And it's a very famous saying that says that a hungry ego is a mean ego. Just like a hungry dog is a mean dog. So if you want to really make a difference in your life through amazing communication skills, don't just ignore or avoid the arguments, rather convert them into a healthy discussion and then intentionally, deliberately lose the argument so that momentarily you're losing, but in the long run, you're winning by miles. I hope nothing but well for you all. Thank you.